Hi, I'm Martin Ramju, Managing Editor of Auto Rental News, and we're here at the International Car Rental Show in Las Vegas with Gary Kolodziej, the President and CEO of Midway Car Rental. So Gary, it's obviously been a really active year so far in the rental car market. As you look and assess 2024, how are things shaping up for 2025 in the LA and Southern California market?
Well, I think we had a really good base for 25 until we transitioned out of last year and dealt with some fires in the Southern California area. That really did put a damper on things for us. But you know what? We're on the rebound now, and we've had a very strong March and April, and we feel like we're headed the right direction now. And then, of course, the tariffs are another situation.
How is that? Are you seeing any problems? Are you seeing any differences in travel, booking, customer patterns yet?
Not really related to the tariffs. We are starting to see some of the tour business come back, and some of the tourist business is making its way to us. But in general, the tariffs haven't really kept anybody away at this point. Pricing hasn't really changed. I think that there's a general unknown about what it's going to do to the car market at this point.
How are you positioning your fleeting practices right now, from purchase all the way to remarketing? Is there anything you're having to do a little differently since we talked the last time?
Yeah.
Because of market forces?
So we're doing a lot differently this time, Martin, and that is a great question. First thing we're trying to do is get really the best information we possibly can. And there's a lot of slanted information, both pro and con tariff out there right now. So finding the real information is the key. Talking to the OEMs, reading everything we possibly can from the trade magazines, Auto Rental News, Automotive News, Cox, NADA. They seem to have the best handle on where things are going, but nobody has any answers at this point.
Roughly, what is the ratio of your fleet, domestic versus foreign?
Great, that's a great question as well. I would say we're probably about 60-40 import domestic, just given the nature of our business. We've taken a big step forward on domestic last year. Our manufacturing partners definitely stepped up and helped us, buy efficiently, so to speak, so that we bought a lot more domestic last year. But our import partners have been very strong as well.
Are you reserving fleet ahead of time, or are you buying vehicles in advance?
We typically negotiate and then buy year-long. But at this point, we are waiting to see. This is the time of year when all the new negotiations for model year 26 come out. And so we're trying to see exactly. We're trying to get the information to figure out exactly what that looks like for everybody. We're hearing different things from the manufacturers all over the place. And talking to some of the other people, some of the other attendees, we're learning, nothing's really solidified in terms of how these things are going to impact the cost of cars.
Now, we've heard a lot of information at this event about the used car market, that it could really pop, and that a lot of new vehicle buyers could be driven into the used market. And of course, fleets are in a prime position to make the most money off of used vehicles. So is that factoring at all into your strategy?
It's factoring hugely into what we're doing. We think that retail customers will be primarily driven away from new and maybe towards used cars. That's good news for our industry. What we encourage other people not to do, and what we don't plan on doing, is taking and fire sailing our current fleet because its value is potentially more. We want to wait and see what the impact of pricing on the new cars is going to be before we do anything with our existing fleet. So everything's essentially in a holding pattern right now.
I want to end this kind of on a positive note. You mentioned the fires.
Yeah.
We're both live in LA area, and that's had a huge effect. But how does it look for the Olympics? Is that already something on the horizon that is affecting Midway Car Rental? And are you involved at all in any pre-planning for this?
So we have our team out talking to the right people to see how that will work. We know that we'll get a kick from the Olympics just in general. The thing that we really had to overcome most for the fires, and I believe it's probably the same for all Southern California-based businesses, is I think when the press went out, there was a general perception by the public that the entire city of Los Angeles was burning and that there was nothing left. And I think we all know that that wasn't the case. It was isolated to certain pockets, but it did impact travel for several months. You know, we typically see strong Januaries and Februaries. We didn't see quite the same. They were good months for us, but they weren't the best they weren't as what we expected them to be.
But there are at least some good times coming ahead.
Great times coming ahead. Always good times ahead, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
Thank you, Martin.
Great seeing you.